Yo, this OG Eddie, man. It's a Free Game Sports Podcast. I'm here with my sister, Brianna Edwards.
What's up, y'all?
And we got the champ in the building, man. Anthony Tucker. What's going on, man?
Man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know, I had to call Bree. I said, hey, man, we need Tuck, man. And, you know, she always makes some stuff happen.
I had to slide in his DMs the professional way.
What you say?
I was like, hey, so I've been following your career for a really long time, and the most professional way possible. No BS. I have been following your career for a minute because I'm a year younger than you. Okay. So your name was real big. So I was like, all right, now we got to make that happen.
Yeah. How many times did you DM
Honestly,
him to reply?
You the realest out of every person I DM you one time.
Yeah.
One time he responded.
That's what's up.
I follow him on Instagram. He followed me right back. So this is a real thoroughbred individual, and I appreciate you.
Did you ever watch the podcast before we hit you up at all?
I did. I saw Mark Will do it, and then I saw Jarv was on it.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, so I knew about it, and then when I saw it,
Mark Will had he was acting like he was scared to talk, man. We had to break that ice with him.
Yeah, Mark got some secrets. So
yeah, man. So what started you playing basketball? What was the beginning like as far as you hooping? Where did it all start at?
Oh man.
What part of town? What AAU teams?
Man, I started playing like the Saturday morning joint in like kindergarten or whatever.
Yeah.
Just
8-foot rims.
Yeah, not keeping score.
Yeah.
But I loved basketball forever. Like I played outside all the time, but I couldn't start playing like organized basketball till I was like 7 or whatever. But I've always loved it. Like it's like the old story of like when I was 2, I was shooting on the Little Tykes hoop.
Yeah, Fisher Price.
Yeah, so I mean it's been my first love forever.
Yeah, that's what's up. So what AAU teams did you play for, like in grade school, going up into middle school? Like what traveling teams did you play for?
Man, so
and what city did you live in at the time?
So I'm an Apple Valley kid. Okay. So I played Apple Valley, but growing up I played everything. So I played basketball, baseball, football. I messed with track a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even play AAU until I think it was 6th grade. That was when I started. Yeah. I played for Minnesota Magic back when that was
Magic Gold, Magic Black.
I was Magic Gold. Yeah. So that was when I started AAU, and that's when everything kind of changed for me too. With like I really fell in love with basketball because I was like, you mean I can play in the summertime too? Like it's not just over in March or whatever. Like, and we get to travel, and I get to go play teams from different states and. That was when basketball really kind of took off for me. I quit playing baseball and stuff. So, those are some of my best, like my favorite memories, like 6th, 7th grade AAU, like really getting exposed to like there's more out there than just traveling basketball in Minnesota.
That's what's up. How was your parents? Was your parents more involved? Like your dad, your mom, was they involved in your life as far as basketball, like heavily? Yeah,
so my dad lives in Indianapolis. My whole dad's side is from Indiana, so I would go down there, for like a couple weeks in the summer and stuff. But my mom, like, sacrificed everything for me to play basketball. Like, all the money we had went to my basketball. Like, no matter what it was, basketball camps in the summer, AAU. Just getting me to tournaments, like that's expensive. Like gas and tournament. Like,
flights.
Yeah, flights and just, food, giving me, like, her not being able to go to tournaments, but giving me all the money she had so that I had money to eat, like when we're on the road and stuff. Like, she literally sacrificed.
So I'm assuming you must have got her a bag, a house, and a car for all these sacrifices.
Man, I'm trying.
Gotta make it happen for moms, man.
Still not enough.
I already know. Trust me.
It's still not enough. No matter what, I can never repay her for all the sacrifices she made for me to be able to play basketball. And I'm so grateful for it, but also like she's so happy that I made it to where I made it because it kind of validated it.
That sacrifice of pain, all that was actually worth it.
Yeah, so me graduating college and stuff and not having to pay for college and stuff to her is the biggest thing. So
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So being an Apple Valley kid, how did you end up at Minnetonka?
That's a good question.
I jumped on the open enrollment train before they shut it down. No, it's kind of a weird story just because like I was good as an 8th grader, and I knew like I was going to the open gyms and stuff, and like I was better than most of the varsity guys. And so I'm looking at it like, I want to play varsity as a freshman. And just the way the Apple Valley and Eastview like programs were set up back then was like, oh, well, you can play we'll move you up, but you can play on the sophomore team as a freshman, and then you can play on the JV team as a sophomore, and then as a junior you can play varsity. And I was like, well, I'm trying to play college basketball. I'm trying to go to the NBA. Like,
right.
That doesn't really work with my, my dreams and what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And it was just just had different opinions and stuff. And so I was like, you know what? Like, I heard if I go out west, Hopkins, Minnetonka, like I heard they're playing freshmen and sophomores and
8th graders, all types of stuff.
They're sending guys to college and stuff. So I mean, like I said, my mom was like, I'll drive you to school every day. Like,
from Apple Valley?
Yeah.
From Apple Valley.
Man, shout out to Mom Dukes, for real. Listen, my mom sacrificed, but she ain't driving from Apple Valley.
I was just going to say, she sound like your mom's.
Look, close, but I don't think. My mom would. I ain't gonna lie. No lie. My mama drove me across the state line consistently if I had to. Yeah. Okay, well, shout out to your mommy. I need to meet her. That's a great woman.
Have you took her overseas with you yet, or has she been over there?
My mom won't come. I tried so many times. She doesn't like the long flight and stuff. Like she's just like I can't. She does not miss a game though. Like we play, it's 2 a.m. here. She's up.
She's like, no, child, I'm not crossing over that water.
But I'll watch the game.
There's all these wars going on in the world.
She won't do it. And then when I was in Europe for the first half of my career, and it was kind of like, I think I almost had her a couple times, because I was like, we can go to Greece, we can go, Yeah. Then when I went to China, it was over.
She ain't going.
Nah, she's not going to China. Not going. Not going to China for anything.
So being that, I read this about you, that you are the only player in your conference history to make all conference all 4 years. What is that like? Like, mind you, how many buckets did you have to score consistently to get that to happen?
That's tough, man.
I mean, it was one of those things too where like when I went to Minnetonka, like I didn't expect to like start varsity from day one.
Yeah.
Like I kind of thought like there's a pecking order, and like I didn't think I played great in the open gyms and all that stuff. So I wasn't like, oh, I'm the best player on this team, because like they had a senior class that like, those guys had been there and been playing and stuff. But from day one, like Coach Hedstrom was amazing. Like he was like, look, you're gonna play, you're gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna yell at you. Like it's not gonna be, it's not gonna be a lot of fun all the time. But he just gave me confidence all the time, and by the end of my freshman year, like I felt like I belonged.
You was that guy.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. I heard about you my freshman year. I mean, that was your sophomore year.
Yeah, and I had some games, like the game against North was the game. B. Cole hit a 3 at the buzzer to beat us, but like we almost beat them.
Sorry, look, he said, look, I know.
Yeah. So
that's
he hit
my
that.
boy, man. R.I.P. to my boy, B. Cole,
bro.
man.
He was something else. Yeah. He hit the 3 at the buzzer, and that was the first time too that like we lost that game, and like I might have cried, to be honest, because I was like,
you was like a freshman at the time.
I was a freshman. Yeah. I wanted to win that game so bad, because like they had all these dudes I'd like heard about and like been kind of watching, and I finally got on the court with them, and I think I had like 15. So I had like a good game for a freshman.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I win this game, that's gonna like
solidify your name.
Yeah, that stamps it. And it was early in the season too. It was like maybe like our 5th game of the season or something like that. And so he hit that shot, and I just remember
that game too.
Like I wanted to win that game so bad, but that was the game too that I was like, okay, I can play. Like,
and then piggyback on that, it's like basketball at that time was tough.
Man,
it was super, super tough. And like playing with B. Cole and Ricky Bassell Parks and Mike Betts, all them guys that was like elite athletes, like to play against them, it's tough, man. Like, even competing with them inside our own gym. Yeah. So I could just imagine like how good you was as a freshman.
It was crazy. Like they had, I remember hearing about Romaine all the time. And I finally played against him. I was like, if this is what I got to be to play college basketball, like I've got work to do. And so like, and then like I think PJ
was
there. I think that was his first year there. So I think he'd come over from South or
he did.
Year,
and I just remember it. Like that game was so like, it was like life changing for me because it was like the first time I like really, really had to compete. And so,
and then you got a little melanin in your skin, so you had to really figure it out. Like, hold on.
And they were going at me too, like like you're at Minnetonka, but you're not really a Minnetonka kid too. So and you like my team. I don't know. I don't want to be like looking back on it, be like, all my teammates were scared and I was the only one out there hooping. But it was a little bit of like. I'm looking around.
You said
like,
it, we didn't.
Yeah, I'm looking around like, hey, like if you're not gonna do it, I'll do it.
Right.
Type thing. So I mean, that was a game. I'll never forget that game for as long as
PJ was tough, man. Yeah. Romaine was tough, so he came over from De La Salle that year too.
Yeah, that team was, and
shout
then
out
like
to our alma mater.
Yeah, sure. Even like you're talking about Ricky and like, there's not really like looking at it now and like looking at the high school players, I'm like, the fact that he was playing high school basketball, he was a bully.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have kids like that now. And I'm like, that dude
He played like Zebo.
Yeah, he was a grown man. And like, he was like, I remember the next year, sophomore year, I got an and one. He took the ball out of the net and threw it at me on the floor, and it hit me in the face, and the ref didn't see it. And I like kind of looked at him, and then I was kind of like, nah. But just like, yeah, that like playing those games were just kind of like those change who you are as a player. I feel like.
Would you say that's your toughest game you ever faced in high school?
Nah.
What would be the toughest game you faced?
Who the toughest game?
Oh man, so no disrespect to North, but we played Henry that year, and they had like B. Smith and Ross Foreman and Bear and Al. Yeah. And we played them on like it was like a Saturday like morning. We played them at like 11 in the morning or something. Yeah. And we won, but that was the hardest game I've ever played.
What made it hard?
I want to know this.
Just like the way that they were going. Me and Al had this rivalry in high school. Like, we really weren't cool in high school. Like, we didn't really talk. I don't think he respected me very much. And I just, like, the way that they were going at me and stuff, like, it was like in the NBA, like in the playoffs where they, like how they go at Luka, where they're, like, ISOing him and stuff. I couldn't hide anywhere, and they were going at me, and we ended up winning, but like the game was closer because of me on defense, because they were scoring on me every play.
They treated you like Steph Curry.
I'm not
everybody.
I'm not gonna lie, like that 1-2 punch with Al and Bear.
Crazy.
That's tough.
Crazy.
That's tough, man. I could just.
Crazy.
I wouldn't want to be you in that.
But that wasn't even it. It wasn't even those two. It was B. Smith and Ross. Like those two. Nobody could guard them because they were both like 6'6", 6'7".
And they could jump out the gym.
They could jump. Ross could shoot. B. Smith was just a man. Like, it was.
You know, isn't it crazy that you say that? If I look at these athletes now, they weren't built like how we were built in high school.
That's what I always say, but then I feel old. Like, I feel like I'm like, oh, well, back in my day, I'm like, but it was different.
Y'all was playing against grown men.
I swear it was different. And then, like, you'd go play, like, Eden Prairie, and they'd have their whole football team out there.
The big farm boys.
They had all these D1 football players out there, and like they were just out there trying to wrestle with you. And like, I don't know. I've watched a lot of high school basketball now, especially like coaching AAU and stuff, and like I just don't see it. It's not the same.
They're not built like us.
It doesn't look the same.
They're not built like this. They're not built like us.
That's what I think. But like I said, I don't.
Listen, I'm gonna say it. It's okay, Tuck. I don't care what people think about me. They're not built like how us three are built, and the ones, especially like the ones that came before us, they're not built like that.
That's what I think.
The athletes nowadays, they're kind of different, man.
They're kind of soft.
Yeah, that's just the honest to God.
Entitled.
Truth.
Sorry.
And that's just how I feel. I watch, and it's all kind of whiny, looking for reps, and all that. Yeah. I ain't really witnessed that when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I didn't care what the ref called. I say less. Now I'm gonna run her over. I'm gonna make you call the charge.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's just how I played.
So tell us about the state championship y'all won with Minnetonka. Who was in y'all sections at that time? Who y'all had to go through to get to the state championship game? And what was that experience? What year high school were you at that time?
So I'll take it back a year. So my junior year, we beat Hopkins in the section semifinal, and Hopkins was undefeated. They were number 3 or number 5 in the country.
What team was that? Who was on their team at that time?
It was like Blake, Tyler Nikolai.
Blake Hoffarber?
Hoffarber, yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember who else they had that was – I know they had some good big guys. I just can't think of who it was. Yeah. But we beat them crazy, like tip in at the buzzer. So we win that game. Then we go to the section final down in Burnsville to play Jefferson. And
Bloomington Jefferson.
Yeah, okay. And Bloomington Jefferson wasn't great. So like we're sitting like we're
going to state.
Not even going to state.
Who was at Bloomington Jefferson at that time?
Cole
Aldridge.
Yeah, and just him.
Just him. Nobody else.
And that was enough sometimes. Sorry, keep going.
Well, and so we're not just we're going to state. It was like we already beat Hopkins. We're gonna walk through there, and then we're gonna walk through the state tournament, and we were up. I would have to. We're going to have to fact check it, but we were up double digits at halftime against Jefferson. And I remember sitting in the locker room and being like, we're going to lose this game.
For real?
I was like, something doesn't feel right. We're not playing great. And we went to overtime, and they beat us, and Cole had
40 and 20.
Something crazy. 10 blocks. And, and we lost that game. And I just remember standing at half court and just being like, we just blew it. Like we could have won state, and we just tricked it off. And so the next year, we were about business the next year. Yeah. So we kind of ran through. I think we finished the year 28-3 or something. Yeah, and the only 3 lost. We lost to Hopkins once, but we lost to 2 out-of-state teams. We lost to Campbell Hall, which was Drew Holiday's team.
Yeah.
And then we lost to some Milwaukee team that I don't know. We were up double digits and lost again, but we just kind of ran through everybody, and then we got to the section final against Hopkins, and it was a great game. But we were down 20 and came back and won in overtime, and after we won that game, it was kind of we were like, okay, now we're going to state, and now we're about to get this one. And we played Sibley in the championship, who we'd already beat earlier in the year, and kind of came out So
y'all came out confident with that one.
Yeah.
Came out we don't need to do nothing. You got this.
Yeah, and we got down. It was something stupid, too. It was 33-9 or something. And
at half?
No, just at one point. I think we went in, I think it was 33-11 or something when we went. Or no. I think we ended up cutting it to 11 at half, but we were down 22 or 23 at one point. And I think I scored 20-something in the second half. And we ended up winning by 10 or whatever.
Went crazy.
But that was another halftime. We were sitting in there, and I was like, we're about to win this game. Because we were I was like, I'm not gonna lose my last high school game, especially to a team that we already beat and stuff. So it was a fun run. Senior year was fun. That was something I'll always remember too.
And piggyback on Cole Aldridge, we played Cole Aldridge in the Bethel tournament. Mm-hmm. And speaking about Ricky and how big his heart is and how good he played, straight bullied him, dunking on him, all that stuff. It was bad.
I think Ricky, that's just straight pride.
Rick was different.
Kid that come from nothing.
And that come to think about it, I don't know if Ricky was talking to him, the same thing that you kind of felt as far as when he threw the ball at you. Yeah. I don't know if that was going on the court. Yeah. I wasn't really getting that much playing time at the time. Yeah. But you kind of seen Cole man, hold on now, hey, you know what I'm saying? And Ricky just punished him. You know what I'm saying? So
sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Nothing at all.
Then we went on to play Isaiah Dorman and his little brother Noah Dorman at Bram. Yeah. Spanked them too. Yeah. So we won the tournament.
He said spank. It's just, inner city kids they were built different, but we're going to change that sooner than later. But who was the toughest player you talked about the toughest game. Who's the toughest player you ever faced in high school? In high school. Give me Minnesota and give me out of state.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, we want to know. See, we've been beating around the bush. We want to know this real stuff now.
I'll go out of state first. Just because I think the Minnesota one's going to be more fun to talk about. But all right, bet. Out of state, Drew was crazy in high school.
Was he strong like he is now? Like super defensive?
Yeah, but
aggressive?
No. So I was just having this conversation yesterday. Drew was amazing offensively.
Okay.
And he still is.
Yeah, he is.
It's not necessarily his role now.
Right.
But like he was so shifty and so athletic and stuff. It was crazy. Like he was doing stuff before other guys were, like the 360 layup, like the John Wall 360 layup. I saw Drew do that before that.
In high school.
Yeah. So I would say him, but then going to like Adidas camp, it was like Michael Beasley was crazy.
Tough.
It was crazy. We're talking about like Rick, like that's how.
4.
No, he was like that in high school.
That's how Mike Beasley was, but he was 6'9" and shooting threes and getting the rebound just coast to coast, dunking on people. But he was a bully like that too when he wanted to be. So those are two guys I'm just like, I remember seeing them and being like, yeah,
they're the real deal.
I thought Michael Beasley would be like LeBron-esque. Like I was just like nobody can stop him.
He was tough like that. At Kansas State, he's still tough. He's tough. Like he's so tough. Still, that's the thing. He be hating on people, but we're not gonna talk about that. Royce talks enough about it. Shout out to Royce White, by the way.
Yeah, shout out Royce. In-state, you can put Royce right up there. Man, go all the way back. Al
Nolan. Two-way.
Strong. You see how strong that man used to be?
Al is so fast. Al is, like, with the ball, one of the fastest players I've ever played against.
Yeah.
And just, like, would just attack you all the time. Like, all game long.
It's crazy because how him and Brett didn't get along. Brett McNeil was the head coach at North High School.
Yeah.
And we all kind of came to North together because I graduated with Al. That's all my class.
Yeah.
And him and Brett kind of was just like bumping heads. And he just straight up told us, like, man, I'm going to Henry. I'm like, see you later. But I just imagine you just stayed there, though. Been crazy.
Wait, I was at North?
Yeah.
When?
Freshman year.
Well, yeah, I think I ain't picked up a basketball until I was 12, so I ain't
you
know
weren't there
nothing.
yet. You weren't there yet. But I was there. It was our freshman year. Everybody was there. Me, Al, Shakai.
Oh, that was Shakai was there, yeah.
Before he transferred to Washburn, Michi.
Oh, that would have sucked for
all
y'all.
them young guards, man. Brett was like, y'all can go ahead and leave.
Oh, that's crazy. Al was nice, though.
Well, yeah. So just Al, nobody else?
Al and Royce, he said.
Al, Royce, Blake. Like, I always see people arguing about, like, who the best for Minnesota is and stuff. And then I see people, like, I'll always be like, Blake. And people will be like, yeah, but. And I'm like, there's no yeah, but. Like, that dude shot 50% from three and made shots. Like, teams played box and ones. Like, tried to put quick guards on him, tried to put bigger guys on him. Like, that dude scored all the time. And then he went to college and did it all the time. Like, so I'm like, I never get why he gets left off. But, yeah, I mean, I would say Jordan Taylor for sure.
JT tough. Yeah.
People hate on him.
He's at McNeil, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't. I seen that man give North the business.
The business.
That's
He definitely
the business.
The business.
Yeah.
By himself.
And
it was tough.
Talk about a dude. He still does it. Like, he's still playing at that level.
Is he in the pro-am with y'all right now?
Yeah, he's on our team.
By the way, kind of side note, y'all team is cheating.
It is cheating.
I look when you posted that. Yeah. I low key wanted to go under there and say something, but I was like, nah, I want to make sure Tuck showed up to his interview.
I'm just not gonna show up after that.
I was like, y'all team is stacked.
And no, it's funny. I went to y'all game yesterday, and the passes that Tyus makes.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you see that?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy because the passes that people try to make, he's making it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just the passing.
So, yeah.
I'm about to go up there and check it out. When y'all next game?
Tomorrow.
I bet I'll be there.
Tomorrow, what time?
I think we're the first game. I think we're the 5:45 game. I think we play like Shadi and Zach and
yeah, we're gonna get Shadi on here soon. I talked
to him yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's who we play tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's
gonna be a good game.
That'll be another one.
I would be there. I'm so sorry. Look at us having a conversation. We apologize to everybody.
Get back to it, man.
But listen, so all right, you went state in high school. Mm-hmm. You have a phenomenal career, and you choose Iowa. What was that recruiting process like, and what was your top 5 schools going into that process for you?
Oh man.
Now put Iowa to the side though. So we're gonna put Iowa to the side. Let's give us 5 colleges that you would have went to instead of the Hawkeyes.
5 colleges I would have. So like my final 5.
Yeah, your final
was,
5. Yep.
Let me see. Colorado, Boston College, Nevada snuck in super late.
Yeah.
And if I could do it all over again, I probably would have went there.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard to think back.
So Minnesota ain't try to come get you?
Minnesota drops the ball every time.
Listen. Let's talk about it, man, because we did have this problem with everybody.
Every person we talk to, Minnesota
come on the
pick up late.
podcast by Minnesota coming in late, or they was on some BS as far as recruiting them.
So my Minnesota story is a lot goofier than everyone else's because they offered me 2 different times and took it away. And so, and Dan Munson straight up told me that I wasn't. He said I wasn't a Big Ten basketball player, but I'm pretty sure he said I wasn't a Division I basketball player. And then offered me a scholarship pretty quickly after he said that, then took it away. And then when Tubby came in, I was already committed to Iowa, but I wasn't signed.
Yeah.
And so he came in and made like the worst effort to get me to come.
Okay, please tell me this one.
I mean, it was just crazy. Like he asked me to come on a visit and was like, well, how about you come September 9th? And it was like September 15th. And I was just like, bro, what? Like it was a really like, I have to recruit you, so I'm gonna, but I don't really want to.
You?
Yeah. And so I just had such bad experiences with Minnesota that it wasn't even an option. Like when I was looking at colleges, I was just like, I never thought about it. Like there was never a point where I was like, oh, I'm going to Minnesota.
Minnesota has to change that. Like, because the crazy thing is, even me as an athlete, Minnesota didn't hop on until very late, and I was already decided that I wanted to play in the Big East. I'm like, I don't even want to play in the Big Ten. That basketball is not better than the Big East. But it's like, you're not the first athlete that sat and said Minnesota hop on. That's so trash. Like, all the kids that they could have had at that school, Minnesota would have been winning championships. I don't care what nobody. We have some of the toughest athletes coming out of our state for the women and the men, but that's their problem.
Let me say something, man. Because listen, I want to make this real clear to the people. University of Minnesota, man, y'all gotta get y'all stuff together. If you would have went to Minnesota with Royce, and then Lawrence McKenzie was still there.
Yeah.
Al was there.
Al was there. Like Hoffarber was there.
Yeah, they let John.
And who else was there? Travis Bush was there.
Travis Bush was there.
Like this Minnesota cast, kids, man, like y'all gotta work on keeping our talent here. Yes.
Keep your talent. And now they got to compete because St. Thomas is offering out stupid packages.
Yeah, and they gonna grow. Yeah. They D1 now, they going to grow.
I think Ben Johnson's doing a good job going after guys now. Obviously, he's from here. Like, he knows. He knows what.
So now he knows.
But, like, if they can get some of the, like, there's a lot of good juniors.
That junior class is nice.
Right now. If they can get, like, Daniel Freitag or, like, some of these guys, like, that would be huge. Because, like, you have to start at some point. You got to stop letting kids walk. You got to stop letting kids go to Wisconsin. You got to stop letting kids go to
Michigan State.
Right? Jordan, John Lure. There's been a whole pipeline. I mean, there's probably been 5, 6, maybe more than that.
So let's go back over this. You said Nevada, Boston College.
Yeah.
Colorado.
That's 3.
So I had some I had some schools that I was super interested in just because of, like, James Ware, who's the coach at Park Center now, was the assistant coach at Utah State.
Okay.
And he had been, like, the ops guy at Minnesota. And so, like, and he was a Hopkins guy. And so I had a good relationship with him. And then he went to Utah State. So then he started recruiting me instantly. And
so is that what Steph Weeds went to?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So was that tied in with Steph Weeds also? The guy being here then going out to Utah State?
I don't know if he was still there when Steph got there.
Steph graduated in 2006.
Yeah, but then he went JUCO.
Yeah, he did.
And so I don't know if Coach Ware was still there, but And I don't know if Steph went there for 2 years or just 1 year.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
So I don't know if those were tied in at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were, because like Coach Ware knew all the Minnesota guys.
Yeah.
And Steph was in
Tough.
high school.
Boy.
Nasty at Roosevelt.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like I was saying, I had a good relationship with him. So like Utah State was like a school that like normally wouldn't be on my radar, but like if you have a close relationship with a coach, it changes things a little bit.
For sure. Yeah.
And so like Utah State was somewhere I was interested in. But then like I had a bunch of schools come in really late because I had a really good 17s year of AAU. So
Yeah.
I had like Wake Forest. I had UCLA come in super late.
And these like full ride scholarships.
Yeah. And I was already committed and I was happy with my decision and stuff. So I didn't even really entertain those schools. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to think back to like when I was.
Yeah, 'cause you getting a little old. It's okay to.
Yeah,
I'm just
my
playing.
memory goes.
UCLA. Who was out there? Westbrook and Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At the
and then
time?
Drew.
Drew?
They had 3 guards from my class already signed or committed and stuff. So for me, looking at it, I was like,
I don't know. Yeah.
It don't make sense.
I was gonna have to redshirt.
Exactly.
And stuff. So I was just like, no, like it's cool. It would look good if I went there and stuff, but I was like, no, I'm happy with. Indiana. Indiana was.
Hoosiers.
Yeah, Indiana was where I wanted to go. Like.
So why Iowa then?
Mike Davis got fired at Indiana, and that because my dad's the whole family, Indiana. So I grew
you
up.
just said that.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really, really wanted to go to Indiana. Like I was like, I thought that was kind of be like the story. Like I went to high school up here and stuff, but I'm going to Indiana for college, and Indiana's crazy. Like they love basketball now.
Oh yeah.
So it would have been fun. That's something too that I'm like, I wonder what would have happened if I went there, like how that would have gone and stuff. But so I mean, those are the schools I can remember off the top of my head that I was like on like a short list.
You had a wonderful 2 years in Iowa. So what made you transfer?
I had a tumultuous 2 years at Iowa. I got in trouble twice down there.
Never knew that.
I got 2 underage drinking tickets, essentially. Literally like a year apart, like to the day.
Yeah.
Like I think
Really?
one was like December 9th and one was December 10th.
Yeah.
And so I was suspended when I was playing great. Yeah. And then I was suspended for a lot of games. And
Yeah, you only play like 11, 10.
So when they suspended you, was that like your coach's decision, or was that like the?
So the first time I got suspended, that was like straight coach's decision.
Yeah.
And then. No, they both were. They were both, and So the second time they gave me like I had to do all this stuff. Like it was like you have to basically jump through these hoops to get reinstated on the team, and I did them all, and he didn't like. I was the best player on the team as a sophomore, and it wasn't close.
Yeah, it wasn't close. Your numbers were ridiculous.
Yeah, and so I did all this stuff. I sat out. I don't even know how many games I sat out. 10. Or something, and I do all this stuff, and then he's like, okay, you're back. I dressed for the game or whatever, and we were playing Northwestern, and we lost by like 3, and I didn't play.
You said you didn't play?
Didn't even take my warm-up off. And I was like, yeah, I gotta go. Like this has become more than just like, this is like a personal thing now, and it's also like, when you get in trouble, people are always looking at you.
Yeah, for sure.
And it got uncomfortable, like being on campus.
Yeah.
Like if I always felt like people were looking at me and like kind of judging what I was doing and like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. And so like I remember I was at a restaurant with the whole team, like we were out to eat or whatever, and I was sitting across from my assistant coach and he had a beer, and someone like a fan or just like a random person walked by and they're like, are you really out in public drinking? And I was like, I wasn't drinking, but it was just like stuff like that where
because
you're just
they
like,
heard about the situation.
yeah, and so I'm like, I can't even sit down and have a meal anymore without like people scrutinizing what I'm doing and stuff. So I just got to a point where I felt uncomfortable, and I was like, I got to get out of here. Like I need a change. So that was the end of that. But I mean, I was stupid. I was 19 years old and just enjoying the attention I was getting. Like, you play well at a big school like that, it's something you can't prepare for. Like, I know guys go through it now with like the one and dones and stuff, but like back then, like freshmen weren't playing that much and stuff. So it was a lot to handle, and I just didn't handle it well.
So this is totally off script. Yeah. What's your advice? Right now you got this, like, kids can get paid for their likeness now, all of this fame, this notoriety. What's your advice? You just talked about how tough it was back then when you played. It has to be way tougher now. Like, what would you say to some kids to kind of help walk them through that process?
My first advice would be that you're not as good as what people are telling you. And so if you don't continue to work on what you need to work on, you're going to come up short when you need to be great. And so I mean, it sounds super cliche, and I'm 32 now, and I'm telling my AAU kids, but I'm telling these kids now, like, you got to stay in the gym. Like, I know that you guys have money now that, like, we didn't have. Like, we're not I can't even sit here and be like, oh, well, money doesn't matter, just stay in the gym. Like, you have money to go do stuff. Like, you can go buy whatever you want. There's kids that have like NIL deals with car dealerships. They have 2-3 cars. Like, I can't pretend that I know what that's like, but what I do know is that at 18, at 19, like, if you're not working at that age, like, when you're 26, 27, you're gonna be like, damn, I wish I was working harder like back then. So that's really the only thing I can say, because I can't even speak to what it's like to have money and, like, what they should be doing with it and stuff like that, because at that age, like, we were getting the scholarship check, and once you paid rent and bought food and did all that stuff, you had
nothing.
You had like $50 left over. So I'm trying to manage $50, and these kids are trying to manage $50,000. Like, I can't give advice on that.
And when my thing is, I kind of could piggyback on what you're saying about being in trouble, because I've been in trouble before. You feel me? And I'm kind of going to speak around it. I don't want to really get into detail about it. But once I got in trouble, I did what I had to do. And when I was out of trouble and I was back doing what I need to do, people were still like, "Hey, how you doing that? Or what you doing? Or what's going on? And, hey, ain't you supposed to be doing this and doing that and all that stuff?" But as I grew older, as becoming a man, I kind of was just like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do regardless of what anybody tell me, what they say to me, anything. And I just kept on working at what I had to work on. You feel what I'm saying? So I kind of can relate to you on that, as far as, like, me being a businessman and you in sports. It's kind of like the same kind of reaction I was getting from people when I got done doing what I had to do as far as being in trouble. So I feel you on that, man. It's hard. It's hard, and it made me a man.
It becomes your identity, unfortunately. And there's not much you can do about it. Some people can easily just brush it off. I wasn't one of those people. Like, I really felt it. I read that. That's another thing I'll say, like, advice, like, you're gonna read the stuff, like, and like, when I was playing, Facebook had just popped. So, like, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have Instagram, like, we didn't have all these, like, the First Take and all the so. But, like, I would read, like, the message boards. There was, like, the websites that, like, the message board websites. I would read all of it. And, like, people would say stuff, and I read all of it, and all of it hit me. And so, like, looking back on it, I'm like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have listened to all the stuff that people were saying, because, like, at the end of the day, you don't know who's writing it. My roommate could have been writing it. I don't know who's writing it.
Would you have stayed, if you look back on the situation now, would you just stayed at Iowa?
For sure. Because I don't think you would have sat much longer.
No, I wouldn't have sat much longer. And also, like, the path I took after that just made everything so much harder. Like,
talk about it.
So from Iowa, I went to Winona State, who had just come off winning 2 of 3 national championships, and they lost the third one. They blew an 11-point lead with 1 minute left or something. I think everyone's seen that clip because it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. So I went there because I didn't want to sit out anymore. Because transferring from a Division I school to a Division II school, you don't have to sit. I don't even know what the transfer rules are anymore, but
they can transfer. They can transfer and play right away now.
Yeah,
and they all got COVID years.
Yeah,
anywhere, no matter, same conference, and they go play right away.
Yeah. Sheesh. So back then it was like the only way you could transfer and not sit out is if you transferred down. Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to Winona. I'm gonna average 30 points a game. We're gonna win a national championship. I'm still gonna be on like draft radar because they're gonna be like, they're just gonna follow me. Like they're gonna be like, oh, he's just over here now, and that is not how it works at all. That's not how it went for me. And like, I just made it so hard on myself. I went there, I was like, I didn't work at all. Like I was like, go to the gym or take a nap, I'm taking a nap. Like I just lost all types of like motivation and resiliency and stuff. And I was just like, I got to the point where I was like, do I even want to play basketball anymore?
Wow.
And so and for me, like someone who loves basketball, like it was that bad. And so from Winona, I transferred again because my assistant coach at Iowa got the head coaching job at Morehead State. And so I was like, he reached out to me. He's like, look, you're a shell of yourself right now. Like, come here. You can sit a year. We'll get you back right. Like, we'll get you back in shape. We'll get you back mentally right and stuff. And so I did that, and that was a great choice for me. But I end up playing 1 year at Morehead, and it just makes the path so much harder to try to go play professionally from Division II.
Yeah.
And now I'm not saying to kids you have to go Division I to play professionally. If Division II is your best opportunity, take it. By all means, take it. Especially now with what you said, like with the COVID year and stuff, like if you can get a roster spot, you got to take a roster spot.
Yep.
Because there are a lot of high school kids that are holding on to, I'm a D1 player, D1 or bust, and they're at JUCOs just praying that a spot opens up.
Yep.
And so I'm not saying you can't make it, but I'm saying for me, going from the Big Ten to Division II basketball was like trying to run a race with like sandbags tied like around your legs. Like it just made it harder.
Yeah.
And I did that to myself. And so I guess in a roundabout way of answering your question, I wish I would have stayed at Iowa because I don't think, like you said, I don't think I would have sat that much longer.
Yeah,
and I think that it would have been a lot easier for me.
Especially like when y'all lost to Northwestern by 3.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and lose to Indiana by 2.
Yeah.
And you looking at your best player like.
Yeah. But I'm sitting there looking like, okay, I sat the last 10 games. Yeah. Like, it's okay.
It's
like,
go time.
I know you're not going to start. Like, okay, I'm not starting this game. And even that, like, I'm sitting there like, why am I not starting? But I'm like, okay, he's going to put me in 3 minutes into the game. Yeah. And then it's, it's the first TV timeout. And then it's halftime. And now it's the second half. And then there's 3 minutes left. And I'm sitting there like, what is going on? Yeah. And he's looking down the bench kind of like, looking at me, and I'm like starting to stand up like, okay, now, and then I'm not going in and stuff. So it was just, but like I said, I mean, at that point I was 20 and coming off of all this like adversity that I had created for myself. Like I wouldn't say that like my maturity level was super high.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just kind of like, I almost looking back on it, I'm like, well, you just kind of ran from the situation. Like you're just like, oh, I'm just going to get like, I'm going to go over here.
You took the easiest route out.
Yeah, and in turn, it
to be the toughest.
Yeah, so, but that, I mean, like I said, that's my story. I don't ever want kids to be like, oh, I gotta go D1 now.
But it's real though. The thing is like, and I appreciate you talking about it because to be honest, there's so many different ways to become a professional athlete, right? Yep. But your story just telling you like it's maybe a little more challenging. It's not hard. You're not gonna be able to accomplish it. However, it's gonna be some challenges. Yeah. And I'm actually curious because I actually never really seen anyone that took the route that you had. Yeah. and as successful as you are as a professional athlete right now. That's unorthodox.
Right.
So talk about what that experience was like, even becoming a professional athlete after everything that you went through in college.
Yeah, and talk about your life overseas also, how that's going.
Man, it was hard. So I finished the year, and like I had a really good senior season. So like my 5th year, like I think I averaged like 25-5, and like
is this at Moorhead?
Yeah, at Moorhead, and I think we overachieved a little bit. Like our team wasn't great, and we ended up like I think we lost in the first round of the tournament. And so like coming out of it, I'm like, okay, like now what do I do? Like I didn't really know what to do, and I didn't know how to like go about getting an agent. And then I had like this guy try to steer me towards playing in Canada, and at that point I'm like, oh well, it's pro basketball, like this is good.
Right. And
then I actually talked to an agent, and he was like, if you go play in Canada, you'll play 1 year and you'll never play basketball again. He's like, that's not.
Why was that?
It's just, like at the time, like that league was just like, it wasn't really professional basketball. Like it was like, okay, if you go play there, like you can go there and you can make like a couple $100s a month and stuff, but like it's not pro basketball. And like you're not gonna be able to go anywhere from there.
Okay, yeah.
So then I started focusing on like the D League at that time. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, how do I get in the NBA D League? And so started kind of looking at that route. And then I got lucky, and I had an agent come in from 3i Sports, which was a huge agency at the time. And he was just like, I've been following your career. I like your game. Like, I think you can be this. And so he stepped in. I signed with him right away. Like, I was like, okay, perfect. Yeah. Signed with him. They get me a job in Finland, which was like, at the time, was a good starting spot for guys like me, like D2 guys, or like lower D1 guys, or even guys at big schools that like didn't play that much or whatever. I wasn't making that much money. I think I was making like $2,300 or 2,300 euros a month. So it was like, to me, I'm like, that's money. Like,
better than $60 you was having.
I've never had money, but I was just like, it's a low starting spot, and I was just like, okay, I gotta like, it's basically like,
what's the cost of living over there? Like, as far as what was your rent and stuff like?
So
was that 2,300 manageable out the month?
So I would say 99% of cases over there, your living is paid for,
and
your
so
insurance is paid for,
food, transportation. That was paid for me. Yeah.
So that money is just
yours.
Like,
I'm good.
Yeah.
It's just yours. Everything. I don't mind. I didn't pay for my food. I didn't pay for my travel. I didn't put gas in my car. My owner did that.
I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good.
So I didn't have any expenses. Yeah. And then at home, I didn't have any expenses. I lived at home, and I mean, that money was just mine.
Yeah, that's good.
So, yeah. So, I mean, like, your first year overseas is, I'll tell anybody that asks, I'm like, just go. Like, if you love basketball and you want to continue playing and you're serious about making that your job or whatever, just go. If it's 500 euros a month or $500 a month, or if it's 5,000 or whatever, go try it. Yeah. I mean, you could, if you don't like it, just leave. Like, you don't have to, you're not signing your life away. Just go try it, and just know that it's gonna be tough. There's gonna be days. There's gonna be days where you're like, what am I doing? I have those days still. I literally have those days where I'll call my fiance and be like, I might come home tomorrow. Like, you might see me tomorrow, because it's tough.
So what makes it so challenging being overseas? Like, so what? How many teams? You your 9th season?
I've just finished year 9.
So you coming up on your 10th season being overseas. What makes it so tough, and you keep having those type of times that you want to come back home, you want to stay? What's the struggle?
I would say at the beginning, the struggle is just trying to figure out how to live. Like, you're trying to figure out how to live in a different place.
Right.
And like, that's the toughest. I would say the more experience you get, the more money you're making, the higher the level of competition, just the more like bullshit you got to deal with. Like, the more just the payments aren't on time, and the just stuff like that, like the expectations of performance and managing that and stuff. And like where I play in Taiwan, like super cutthroat.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Couple bad games, and like the owner's like, well, you're not really playing that well, and this guy just got cut from the Nets, and like we might bring him in, and you're just like, it's stuff like that where you're just like, I've been here for 4 months, I'm averaging 25 points a game, I had 2 bad games, and you're telling me like we might cut you, or like,
oh no, they do that. That's absolutely, they'll buy you out.
Yeah, so I would just say stuff like that is what makes it at this point where you're just like, and like I feel like I've seen after 9 years, I've been on, I don't even know how many teams in 9 years and how many countries I've been in and stuff, but I've seen everything. And so at this point, it's just like when one little thing like that happens, I'm just like,
cool.
Yeah. So that's the toughest part, I would say, is just dealing with like the nonsense all the time. And like our perception of life is not their perception of life. And like things that we think are common sense might not hold true for them. So like having the expectation of like, well, why are we doing things this way?
Right.
It might be normal to us, but it's not normal to them. Mm-hmm. And so it's stuff like that where like that's hard to deal with too. Yeah. Just doing stupid stuff. Like hey, we're gonna go practice in this gym an hour away instead of like practicing later in the day at our gym. And you're just like, why? Yeah. And there's no reason. Like there's no explanation. It's just like, no, we're gonna load everybody up on the bus. We're going to go an hour that way, practice for 2 hours, hour back this way. It's going to take your whole day up, and we got a game tomorrow. And you're like, why don't we just practice 2 hours later and we can just practice in our gym? Because. Okay. Okay. Man. Yeah.
He said because.
So it's stuff like that, like just the little stuff that you get to a certain point and you just get fed up.
So the team you're playing for now, you in China, right?
Taiwan,
okay. Yeah. So I know money's okay. Yeah. So do you still have dreams of going to the NBA, like to this day? Like this far in your career, do you still like, hey man, I still want to go to the league? Like,
yes and no. So I would say at this point in my career, and I would say this probably holds true for most guys, guys just want to be compensated fairly for their skill level or like their performance. Yeah. So like you get to the Chinas and Taiwans and Japans, and I mean even in Europe when you get to EuroLeague and stuff, like when you start making good money, it's hard to be like, oh, I wish I was in the NBA playing, because what people don't take into account is like, I get to play and be the man. I get to shoot. I can shoot 1 foot fadeaway threes if I want to. And nobody's going to say anything to me. And I get to do that, and I get to play 40 minutes a game, and I get to be the man. And
I was watching your highlights, man. You just like,
Tuck is tough.
Whatever I want to do, I'm doing it, man.
Or do I want to? Is my dream to come play in the NBA and not even dress for games, but to say that I'm in the NBA? Yeah. And like, that's the thing where it's like, okay, well, quality of life might be better over there when you get to a certain point. Right. Like your value's higher over there. Yeah. Like, could you make it in the NBA? Maybe. Right. But what's your role? Like for me right now, I'm 32. What is my value in the NBA? Like, even if I made the roster, they've already invested in a 23-year-old kid that they're like, okay, we got time. We've put
to mold him.
Yeah, we've put money into him. Like, we drafted him. Like, this is our priority. You can play with us, but
right.
we're worried about him.
For sure.
So you get to a certain point, and it's just like, well, what's in it for me? What's in the dream for me?
Get that bag, period. Whatever makes sense for you.
Yeah, so I mean, but at the same time, now don't get me wrong, like, I love playing basketball at home. Like, I love playing in the Pro-Am just because I get to play in front of people I know and people I care about. And I get to play in front of my son and my fiance, and like, to me, that's invaluable. So like, if I could do that for a season and play in the NBA, like, yeah, that would be amazing.
Right.
But is it like this dream of like, am I playing basketball over there to try to get to the NBA because I feel like I need to do that to validate?
That's kind of like the question I was asking.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And I don't know when that changed. Yeah. Like, I don't know at what season, if it was season 5 or, where you're just like,
I'm cool where I'm at.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the same for any walk of life. Like, it's like, okay, like a business owner, like, at what point are you like, I'm focused on making this business the best business I can make it versus I need to be the CEO of the biggest company in the world. Right. You get to a point where... I love
that analogy. That's perfect.
Your priorities shift a little bit and you just become a little bit more self-aware, I would say. And the thing that I always think is funny is that like people never like take into account or realize that it's okay to be great at what you're doing. Like your perception of what I'm doing and what's great for me might not be my perception of what's great for me. Right. So, yeah. So, I mean, like I said, would it be amazing to spend a year or 2 years in the NBA, like being at home or, in the States and playing in front of family and friends and being able to say I did it? Of course. But is that something that I'm like actively chasing? I can't say it is, because I'm not doing any of the steps to get there.
Right.
So,
but speaking of the program, you did good. I know you read them questions before, so I don't know if you knew this one was coming. You play on Team Tyus, cheating team, by the way. I'm keep saying that. I'm just playing. Explain how the pro-am experience is, and also explain like how that whole situation is playing with Tyus.
The Tyus is my guy. Like, that's my dog. So like, it's playing with him is fun. Like, it's fun too because like we're in competition with each other, and like people don't know that. Like, we work out together every day.
Yeah. And
like we're looking at each other in the second quarter. Like, how many points you got? Okay, bet. And so like, it's fun that way. But no, I admire that dude so much. Like, that it's unbelievable, like the way he plays basketball, because he's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, he's not the best shooter, he's not the quickest. Like,
his IQ is crazy.
IQ's crazy. He's competitive as hell. He's tough as hell. Like, that's the thing too that like I don't think people give him credit for. Is just like that dude is tough. Like, you can go at him and it's not gonna work.
Yeah,
like,
people don't know that because they sitting here watching him on TV.
Yeah.
But when you on the floor with him and you get to feel that energy, then you can talk about it.
I know that. He made me a Duke fan.
Yeah.
I was like Duke. Yeah. But I wasn't a fan.
I was the same way. Like, I liked him, but I was like.
But when Tyus got there, it was something different.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Tyus I lost some money messing with Tyus. I bet against him against Wisconsin.
Don't do it.
With Frank the Tank and Sam Decker.
He was tripping.
But I've been listening.
Nah, you ain't see. Listen, I watched all. See,
Tyus was the one who killed him, but Okafor put Frank the Tank in foul trouble early.
Oh yeah.
And that's what really sealed that deal with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, but like we always say, us Apple Valley guys, a little bit different.
Apple Valley, oh my God.
Just a little bit different.
A little bit different.
We're just a little bit different.
You and Tyus and Trey. That's all I could.
Shit, JD.
Never mind. You right. I shut up.
Gary
Trent for sure.
Okay. All right. No more.
Yeah, go down the line on you. Hey, man,
who else guys are a little bit different, but no. But playing in the Pro-Am is awesome. Like, it's so much fun, but it's crazy because like you grow up watching it, and so then like you become that wave of like people are coming to see you play, and it's weird, but it's also like it's just fun. Like, I don't know. There's no other basketball experience that I feel like you get than like playing. You get like even Saturday, for example, like Gino and Q, like those are my guys.
I love
Gino.
Those
are my guys. So it's like I get to play basketball with them in front of people. Like
they all on my list to be interviewed, by the way. So tell them to answer their DMs.
Oh yeah. No, those dudes like.
I don't want them to think I'm trying to hit on them. I'm very professional. Ask Tuck, y'all. I'm only asking for an interview. I ain't asking for nothing else.
Yeah. No, those guys. those are some great guys too. But
she trying to shoot her shot, low key.
Oh my God. Okay.
Hey man, she trying to shoot her shot.
That's a lie. I am not.
She's single.
Tuck, don't look at me like that.
Hey, I was just trying to see what's going on.
No, I'm not shooting my shot. I am building a quality show with my brother and my partner. That's it. That's all. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, it's amazing. It's fun. Trying to help her out. Try to change the subject back.
My bad. I had something in my throat. It's all good though.
But no, I can't stand him. I'm so sorry. All right, so this is a personal. Before we go back to your personal, this is an opinion question.
Okay.
Yep.
All them trades happen in the NBA, right?
Yep.
Who do you think made the best move, in your opinion?
So the best team, and then the best player, as far as like where they went, and the best team as far as who they got and who they got rid of. Like, who do you think make the best move?
Best move is DeJounte Murray to the Hawks.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Worst trade is Gobert to the Timberwolves. not because Gobert, nothing that I think they gave up
way
too much.
The moon and the stars, and especially with a team that has kind of created a new identity. They traded the two highest energy guys to get a lower energy guy. I don't know. We'll see how it works. I don't know that.
I personally think they trade away their whole future.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I don't know. I mean,
especially in the draft picks.
Yeah, you can't trade. You just can't
trade 4 first-round draft picks.
All of that for one guy. I don't.
Not for Rudy. I'm maybe Donovan Mitchell. But I ain't giving up. Not for Rudy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of, it has to be the guy. I'm trading that much.
I'll give up 4 first-round draft picks for Rudy, but I'm keeping everybody.
Yeah.
Bev, Beasley. I'm keeping everybody.
They gave up
a
the
lot.
Moon and the stars, and I hope it works out because that's a lot. But at the same time, like you're getting one of the best defensive centers of all time.
Absolutely.
And so,
what trade do you think was the best trade in the NBA?
Me?
Yeah.
I love that Hawks trade. Listen, people fail to realize just because the Spurs aren't on TV, Murray is tough.
Yeah.
When I say tough,
yeah,
and that's a perfect compliment between him and Young. It's gonna work so beautifully. People think it's not gonna work because they both ball dominant. Murray don't need the ball in his hands sometimes. The kid's so shifty. Yeah. I like that trade.
I think,
I agree with the worst being the Timberwolves.
I agree with the worst for sure. I think the best trade that happened for me, and I'm thinking about what they're trying to do around this kid, which is Giannis. I think Joe Ingles going to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good trade as far as him be able to get into the paint, facilitate, kick it out to this shooter. So I think Joe Ingles to Milwaukee.
I still think that's Middleton's team, but that's my opinion.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I also like what you call too, the young boy Gary Jr.
Peyton the second.
Yeah, the second going to
Blazers.
Phoenix.
No, he went to Blazers.
To the Blazers.
Portland.
Yeah, that's actually nice. Golden State should have tried harder. They offered him.
Another one is Gallinari to the Celtics.
I forgot about that.
It's gonna go under the radar until the season starts, and people are gonna be like, "What?" Because
They needed that though.
Yeah, because I mean now they got, I don't know. Now they got like a stretch 4 on, and they still have Al Horford, and they got Robert Williams, and obviously putting them with Tatum and Brown.
Somebody else went to the Celtics too though. I can't remember.
I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up after we get done.
Yeah. So I don't know. I still think there's a lot of stuff coming. Like obviously the Kyrie and the Kevin Durant and stuff.
The funny thing is that they are not getting as many offers that they thought they were going to get with KD. A lot of teams don't want them.
Well,
ain't that crazy?
Nobody can afford that though.
Yeah, that's what
you're picking up a 4-year contract, 4-year max contract. So you have to give up. I mean, like they asked for Edwards and Towns from the Wolves and draft picks.
They asked for Edwards and that.
Yeah. So I mean, like they're asking for a lot, and not a lot of teams have that. So it's when you're that good, it's tough to move.
I wouldn't give up AE though. AE gonna be tough. Anthony Edwards gonna be tough.
They're not giving. That's the future.
I know.
They'll give up Towns before they give up Anthony Edwards.
Yeah,
I would for sure.
100%. So, we'll get back to you, young sir. You had a crazy injury, and around like that 2018, 2019 season.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really come back as successful as you have been after an injury like that. Talk about what that process was like in the training room and getting yourself back mentally in the game. What was that like?
And we don't want to like bring this dark cloud back over, but explain exactly what injury that you had and the process, how long it took you to heal, and what was the rehab like?
So I had a Jones fracture, which is the 5th metatarsal, so the outside of my left foot. Just running down the court, caught the ball, like planted, tried to cut back, and it just rolled
over the shoe
and just cracked. And then, I was out for 11 weeks, and the rehab process was just like, there's nothing you can do about it because it's the least circulated part of your body is like your like left pinky toe. Yeah. And so
11 weeks.
Yeah. So I mean, it was almost 4 months, or no, almost 3 months. Sorry. And then I was rushing back because I was playing in China that summer, and like if I wasn't ready, they're just gonna sign somebody else. So I was rushing to get back, and I got back for the first game, played the whole summer on it. Played. I don't know how I did it, but I played well on it. I had my career high, lifetime high in a game.
On a broken foot.
On a partially broken foot at that point. And then came home, like worked out, kicked it, went back over, re-broke it in the same spot on the first day of practice, like half an hour into practice. Stepped on someone's foot, rolled it over, felt it crack again, instantly knew that I broke it again. Like all my teammates were like, "Oh no, don't say that. It's probably just a sprain." I said, "No, I felt it."
Yeah, same thing as last time.
Yeah. So then I was out another 3 months, which is super tough. Like rehabbing an injury sucks, but rehabbing the same injury is, I don't know. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, which I want to give a special shout out to Parker Fox, who tore his ACL last year and then tore it first day of team practice with the Gophers this summer. Actually, I think he tore his other one.
Oh.
So he's going to miss this year as well. And I like just knowing like how hard you work to get back and then to have that same injury happen. Is like, it's devastating, but mentally, like you just have to attack the rehab. Like that's all you can do. Like you can't do anything else. It happened, you're hurt, and it's not gonna get any better if you don't help it get better. So but yeah, I mean injuries, anybody that's gone through it knows that
we see why though, like why Klay Thompson was like crying at the championship after they won. Like it's so
and his
mentally.
Injury is common like that. ACL, Achilles is always it's always
you know
the same.
I'm saying? The two major injuries back to back, and then you win a national championship. It's like overwhelming. Yeah, just to bounce back from that.
I don't know. I had 3 knee surgeries, same knee, so I get it.
Yeah.
Same rehab. Same knee, so it's just the reason why we wanted to ask that question is a lot of kids are getting hurt. They're playing multiple sports. I'm seeing more injuries now as a coach than I did when I played. And a lot of these kids feel like their careers are over. Like just to know that like 3 of my niece's teammates who are freshmen tore the ACL their freshman year of high school. I'm like, dog, like why are everyone getting hurt? And just to give them some advice on regards to how like come back after that, because like it's hard. I did it in college, and so I have way more support. But these kids are getting hurt in high school. And having to bounce back after that. I mean, you have to know it's going to get better. Like that's the thing that's the hardest is like when it happens, like all you can think about is the injury.
But like, I mean, for me, for example, like when I broke it the second time, I was like, oh, am I ever going to be able to dunk again? Or like, am I ever going to be able to run?
You posted somebody on your highlights not too long ago.
Yeah. So it's going to get better. And like the more that you're like willing to do all the little things, like that was the crazy thing is like the first time I broke it, I was like, I got to do whatever it takes to get back. So I was doing like, I have a broken foot, but I'm doing like contrast baths, which just all it does is promote the circulation. So I'm just going hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And like I talked to a doctor and they're like, that's not really doing anything, right? And I'm like, yeah, but it's getting circulation, which obviously promotes healing. And like, he's like, yeah, I mean, I guess in theory, but I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if it doesn't do anything.
Right.
I'm trying. Yeah.
Right.
Sure. And so you just have to know that like it's gonna get better. You're gonna be okay, and the harder you go, like the better off you're gonna be. And on top of that, like for high school kids and stuff, sometimes it can be a blessing in disguise. Like some of these kids don't lift weights or don't do any type of anything, and it forces you to. So you might come back stronger.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easy and that like, oh, if you tear your ACL, you should be happy because you're going to come back stronger. You have to do the work to get stronger. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it could be a blessing in disguise if you let it. Yeah. And so that's the best advice I can give is just use it as an opportunity. It's not fun. Nobody wants to do it, but also, I mean, you can make the most of it.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for these young athletes out here, man, that's basically like going through their career, high school to college, from college to professional? Mm-hmm. Like what advice do you have for these young kids that's actually, trying to make something out of this sports stuff? So
my dad always told me, it was a saying he said to me when I was really young, and I never knew. Like I was just like, "What are you talking about?" But he would always say, "Like, be true to the game, and the game will be true to you." Yeah. And I would always just kind of be like, "Yeah, okay." But that goes, like the way I kind of took it, and the way I kind of use it now is just that like, the more you put into it, the more you can get out of it, and so. In saying that, like it sounds a little bit corny and a little bit cliche, but like I was saying with the NIL stuff, like I don't know how to tell these kids what to do when they have money and access to things that we never had.
Right.
But what I do know is that if you spend your free time, if you really work on your craft and stuff, you're going to be better off for it down the road than if you think, okay, well, I got this NIL deal, so I must be good.
Right.
Yeah, they're telling you you're good right now, but do you want to be good right now, or do you want to be good when it matters? Like, do you want the $50 million contract, or do you want the $50,000 from?
Say that again.
From whatever car dealership or whatever. Yeah, right. And so, just, I mean, for high school kids, like do your homework. Don't ever let like the stuff you can control, like your grades, dictate where you go.
Yeah.
Like don't make it so you can't go play at Duke or Stanford or something because you don't do your homework, and then you end up going to somewhere else because you could I could have went there, but
my grades.
Yeah.
But you were the best athlete in America.
Yeah. But my grades were. I heard that story all the time. Man. I could have went here, but I ain't had the grades.
What story is that though? Like why is that a good excuse? Because you could have controlled that 100%. So like, just control the things you can control. Do the things that you can do, and do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do.
Period.
And
that's what it is.
That's it. I
mean, I didn't deal with. For instance, I'm in the barber field, as you can see. I had a young barber working here, and he was going through hard times, like as far as like not making enough money. He wouldn't ever like to pay his rent, stuff like that with money. And I kind of like try to give him an example of myself, like, bro, I've been through that stage before in my career, like where I ain't have nothing, but you steady going out buying Benihanas every day, going out to eat every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I told him, I said, bro, all you gotta do is go to the store, get you a pack of meat, some bread, cheese, mayo, and eat a sandwich every day until you get your money right.
Right.
But kids nowadays, they can't relate to that, man. What? Dude, what?
Yeah.
Why would I do that for? You know what I'm saying? But if you want to get ahead and you want to, you know, get back on your horse, man, you got to sacrifice some things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the problem I be having with young kids these days, as far as like trying to teach them like discipline and how to manage their money.
Yeah.
So when you got the kids coming in, $50,000 contracts, and we come from trying to make ends meet when we was in high school because our parents couldn't do it for us.
Right.
They like, but what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of relate with that stuff, man. It's crazy. So yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's hard to sit up here and because like they didn't go through what we went through. We didn't go through what they're going through.
Exactly
and,
what it was.
And stuff. But I just know that, like I said, I mean, you get the 50,000 now, or you can make sure that you get the 50 million later, and it's up to you. I mean, for some people, the 50,000 now might be
might be cool. But one thing stays consistent on what you said is hard work, dedication, and putting the time in.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you do that, everything that you want, it may not happen when you want it, but it's gonna happen when it's supposed to happen.
Right.
And a lot of the times, I think kids, they're so used to this instant gratification.
Yeah.
You know, social media, you see everything right away, right?
Yeah.
But not knowing that it's gonna take you grinding by yourself for a while until the life starts to put all those pieces together. And so I think that's the best advice. Anytime I ever ask an athlete, is the athletes need to understand that yes, it's hard right now, but you're doing this to make it easy for later.
Right. The formula is undefeated. Like the hard work and the time and the effort is undefeated. And until we find something different, like that's what you got to do. There is no magic formula to get to where you want to be without doing any of that stuff. Like nobody's done it.
Yeah.
And like some of these kids with these like the mixtapes and the highlights, and some of you kids stink. Like some of you kids are not good. And
Yes.
And like it's not just me saying it though. It's like there's a reason that you have no offers, but you have 8 different mixtapes and stuff. Like
Put
you know
your head
who's
down
working.
and get to work.
Yeah, you know who's working and who's not.
You can see it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's evident.
So that's the biggest thing. And like if you think that's about you, it probably is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. And I appreciate, listen, Tuck, I knew you was a real one, but that statement right there solidified and stamped it. That Tuck, you are a real one. You like, look, hey, some of y'all kids ain't really like that.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. And I appreciate your honesty and sharing your story with us, for one, coming on this platform. And taking the time to open up my DMs. Tell your boys to open up my DMs. Every person you said, I've wrote them a DM. All right? Every name that you said, I wrote them a DM. And if they don't answer their DM, I'm going to write another one politely.
Some of you guys need to be more professional. Open your DMs, respond, show up to stuff on time, Gino.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But no, Tuck, I just want to say I appreciate you coming on, man. Your story is inspirational. And just, you know, where you were to where you are now, you know, through the mistakes and all that stuff, and to how you becoming a man, it's very inspirational to me.
Appreciate it.
I'm pretty sure Bree, you know, she's a big basketball fan.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna lie, Tuck, listen, that's all I heard was your name. Ain't that many names? I graduated in 2009.
Yeah.
So I heard your name. I was like, who is this kid they talking about? He's like, it's a light-skinned kid at Minnetonka.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to see you play. I think I first seen you play against Hopkins.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no, he nice.
He's nice, for sure.
So, you know, just let you know you had a little fan way
Thank you.
way back.
Always
you know.
appreciate it. Always appreciate the fans.
And know that your name is solidified. You a bucket. Ain't nobody saying that you ain't like that.
You can't say otherwise.
Yeah.
Cause period. Hey, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Y'all know what to do. Like, share, all that great stuff. And make sure y'all tell all y'all fans and all the people that y'all like to watch play basketball to open up their DMs. I'm going to say it one more time. Okay? I'm just playing. But nah, peace, love, happiness, and success, y'all. We'll talk to y'all next episode.